Well, thank you very much. And, I got to start out with how many times do you hear if you're not on the right side of the gun issue, you're not a patriot? And, sir, I got to tell you, I didn't know you were going to be here, and this is pretty fresh in December. I remember reading that story. And I'm sorry for your loss, and thank you to your country for what you did before. Unbelievable. So I've got about 17 pages of notes here, so hang tight. No, listen, yeah, it does. We have session. So in 2014, Senator Latz and I passed the gun violence restraining order bill in an overwhelming bipartisan fashion. And, that bill is keeping the hands out of abusers in Minnesota. And we really got people to sit down and say, if you beat women and children, you shouldn't have guns. And everybody went, yeah, I guess you're right. Sometimes you have to oversimplify things, but there's no reason that we can't come together around this. And I'll tell you, I believe the passage of that bill turned the corner and opened the door for the state of Minnesota to start the common sense and moderate gun discussion about gun violence in Minnesota right here. That experience showed that we can talk together. We can talk to each other respectfully without the discussion of knee-jerk reaction that you were going to lose your rights to your firearms. It's just not happening. As you can see from the large group of individuals behind me, law enforcement, county and city attorneys, doctors, clergy, gun owners, survivors, moms, dads, a diverse and thoughtful group of individuals are coming together to keep Minnesotans safe. We have heard from Senator Hayden, Representative Lee about the Taylor-Hayden Gun Violence Prevention Act. We've heard from Representative Pinto about the Gun Violence Protection Order. And now we must talk about the way guns get into our system. In Minnesota, only federally licensed gun dealers must conduct criminal background checks on potential buyers to make sure that they are not legally prohibited from having guns. These account for only 60%, so just over half of the gun sales. All others happened without question at all. It's time to close the existing loopholes. Over 91% of background checks at licensed dealers take less than 90 seconds to complete. You stand in line at Caribou longer to get a cup of coffee than it takes to get a background check on a cup of coffee. And you probably pay more for the coffee. Since 1998, the criminal background check system has blocked millions of felons, other dangerous people from buying guns. Over 30,000 of them have been in Minnesota alone. That system is working. In the 19 states, and these are the facts that matter because people will tell you, well, what's the data? So there are 19 states. 46% fewer women are likely to be killed by intimate partners. 48% fewer law enforcement officers like me and like my partners are killed. 48% fewer are killed with handguns. And if you're a parent who's lost a child, a friend, anybody in this room who has lost somebody to suicide, 48% fewer folks will commit suicide as a result with a firearm. I'm a licensed police officer, a legislator, and a Second Amendment supporter, and I can say with 100% certainty that support of the Second Amendment goes hand in hand with responsible gun ownership, much like Mr. Nelson said. I'm calling on my colleagues in the legislature to stand up and listen to Minnesotans when we look at 80% think that this is the right thing to do. This is not new. I think, Chief, maybe you can, talk about this too, but when I'm on working the street and somebody calls and says, hey, where do I go? I want to sell my gun to my neighbor. So where do I go do this or that? I'm like, well, you can just walk over there and sell it. They're like, I don't have to do any paperwork? I said, no. And their first answer is, that doesn't seem right. And I said, I agree. And remember, we've taken some steps to even try to work with folks to say, what if we just do this at gun shows and I'll let you give it to a family member without a check? And we haven't been able to beat that back, and we need your help. We need everybody's help. This shouldn't be complicated. And this is an attack on Second Amendment rights. We stood up, I think, yesterday, because we have an opiate epidemic in this country. We're losing people left and right because of an opiate overdose epidemic. We are losing people left and right through gun violence, whether it's self-inflicted or otherwise. It's time to stand up and say, what other ways can we do this? Because that's what we do in other areas, and we do it cooperatively. Thank you.